10:35 Susan Knox Russell Brand's dad paid for him to have sex with prostitute at 16. Russell Brand boasted of sleeping with prostitutes when he was a teenager, claiming he did so in a bid to win approval from his father, Ronald Brand, and that this early encounter defined his relationship with women. In the past, Russell has discussed the fact that he spent time sleeping with prostitutes when he was just a teenager traveling abroad with his father. The comedian has been slightly inconsistent with his details, but has discussed these facts in interviews and his autobiography. In 2014, Russell spoke with Hollywood actor Rupert Everett during a documentary titled Love for Sale. Recalling his time with a prostitute, Russell explained on camera, "I slept with a prostitute when I was maybe 16 years old, and I think the girl was probably not much older. She was 17 or 18, I dunno, a couple of years older than me. And I loved her. I loved her. She was beautiful and elegant and sort of sweet. And I felt kind of relieved and in awe and frightened of her. I'd only ever had sex once before in my life. And to be with this beautiful, Filipino woman, it was kind of incredible and dazzling." In his 2007 autobiography, My Bookie Wook, Russell claimed he lost his virginity to a prostitute. He wrote, "The episode that defined my relationship with women occurred in Hong Kong with my dad. I was 17. On day one we went to some sleazy dive. Before long I was sat on a bar stool with a Filipino called Mary Lou. Then we were leaving in a cab with 3 Asian prostitutes my dad was drunkenly herding. Back in the hotel, my dad set about unwrapping his 2 prostitutes. I sat on the edge of the other twin bed. She must have known I was a virgin as soon as the bungling encounter commenced." He added, "In the course of the rest of that holiday, I had sex with loads more prostitutes, always got a hard-on, never wore a condom, and never fell in love." 10:27 Susan Knox Russell Brand's wife standing by him as allegations firmly in the past. Russell Brand's wife Laura Gallagher is standing by him because the sex assault allegations against the comic, which he vehemently denies, are firmly in the past, according to a friend of the couple. Laura's decision to delete her social media accounts sent speculation swirling, but a pal says they're determined to ride the storm together. The mother of the scandal hit star's 2 children, who has a 3rd baby on the way, will remain rooted to his side. It comes as her sister Kirsty Gallagher shared her support for her brother-in-law after he denied serious and criminal allegations in a video statement. She decided to remove her post minutes after as Russell faces allegations, including rape, sexual assault and emotional abuse from 5 women. Laura will continue to back him, and a friend told Mail Online, "What Russell did was firmly in the past, way before he and Laura met." They went on to say their focus is on finding a way through the crisis and added, "Of course it isn't easy, but they are determined to get through this." Read more, here. 10:15 Susan Knox Russell Brand's grim account of smashing sex workers' phone against the wall. Russell Brand admitted smashing a sex worker's mobile phone against the wall as he explained a grim encounter in his memoir, My Bookie Wook. The account resurfaces as the comedian is accused of rape, sexual assaults and emotional abuse, which he vehemently denies. Writing in his 2007 book, Russell recalled the half-hearted sex act, admitting he had paid a lot of money for the disappointing ordeal. The cruelly worded clipping has since been shared all over X, formerly known as Twitter. Brand wrote, "Eventually she agreed to have sex, but a kind of weary, half-hearted, semi-erect, bored, disappointing bit of sex, for which he'd paid a lot of money. During this act of tawdry friction, her phone rang again. The extract, seen over 300,000 times, continues. "Could you turn that phone off?" I asked. "I can't relax." She took the call. "I began to wish I hadn't left the boat." "Bryden's probably doing Delilah by now," I mused, to which actually helped my erection. Another 20 seconds of boring rubbish goes past, then the phone rings again, and this is the worst act of misogyny I've committed since the spitting debacle, took the phone out her hand and threw it at a wall. Slow motion. It hits the wall and smashes, and she looks at me, the sex stops, and we separate. Silence. Then I say, realizing my position is compromised, "For FK's sake, you kept answering the phone." And she looks at me. Users couldn't believe what they were reading, with one saying they shuddered while rereading the section from Brand's book. Another replied, "There's lots of examples of awful behavior in that book." While a third said, "This is horrific." 10:12 Susan Knox Theatre Royal Windsor considering cancelling Russell Brand's upcoming gig. ITV News has reported that Theatre Royal Windsor is considering cancelling Russell Brand's gig on Tuesday evening amid the allegations of rape and sexual assault. Managers of the theatre are said to be holding a meeting this morning, with an update to all ticket holders expected later today. The comedy gig is part of Brand's Bipolarization tour. A separate gig went ahead as planned on Saturday evening in Wembley as the accusations aired on a chilling Channel 4 documentary. Cancellation of the comedy gig tomorrow evening would indeed put the rest of Brand's tour in jeopardy as he has further dates planned this month. 09:42 Susan Knox Russell Brand's father furiously defends comedian against rape and sex assault allegations. Russell Brand's father, Ron Brand, has defended his son against rape and sexual assault claims, calling them unproven before asking, "Is this seriously the most important thing happening in this world?" Russell's furious dad claims the BBC are pursuing a vendetta against the comedian, as more women came forward to accuse him of abuse. In a scathing statement, Mr. Brand wrote, "Is this seriously the most important thing happening in this world? Immigrants? Cost of living? Tens of thousands killed in Ukraine? Who is prioritizing at BBC News? Who is really driving this vendetta? With many struggling to pay bills." The unproven accusations of 15 years ago take lead on BBC News. 09:31 Susan Knox Katy Perry said she hadn't spoken to Russell Brand since their divorce amid rape claims. Katy Perry previously said that she has not spoken to her ex-husband Russell Brand since they got divorced in 2012 after a whirlwind romance and marriage in 2010. Perry has previously spoken out about their relationship, with her revealing to Sydney Daily Telegraph in 2015 that she had no contact with Brand at all since their 2012 divorce, as per Contact Music. Speaking to the publication, the Daisies hitmaker explained, "He hasn't spoken to me since he texted me saying he was filing for divorce. I don't want to talk about him, my songs will say what I need to say." In an unearthed interview revealed the singer hinted at the real truth she could not disclose when questioned about her ex back in 2013. She even described Brand as controlling and really hurtful in 2013 when the hitmaker was featured on the front cover of Vogue magazine with an accompanying interview. Read more, here. 09:11 Susan Knox Russell Brand has karma coming for him, says ex This Morning star amid allegations. Former resident doctor on This Morning, Dr. Ranj Singh has addressed the allegations. Taking to his Instagram stories on Saturday night, Dr. Ron wrote, "Watching the C4 dispatches tonight. Sadly, it's no surprise. It highlights a systemic issue in the TV/entertainment industry. Men in positions of power abusing that privilege to take advantage of others. This is not the first nor the last instance. There will be more being exposed. Karma is a bitch. And she's coming for you," Dr. Ron added. In another Instagram story, the celebrity doctor wrote, "To the women who have spoken out about Brand, to those who have spoken out about another powerful comedian or figure only to be ignored, and to all those who have felt silenced by a powerful man in the media, we love you, we are rooting for you, we love you, we are here." Read more, here. 08:45 Susan Knox Women's Charity cuts ties with Russell Brand after sexual assault allegations. Russell Brand has been dropped by a women's charity following the emergence of claims of sexual abuse and rape, which he denies. Women's charity Trevi has ended their association with him. The charity worked with Brand for more than a year before the allegations surfaced. The charity released a statement on their Instagram page. It reads, "We are deeply saddened and upset by the stories reported on this evening's Channel 4 Dispatches program regarding Russell Brand. Today's media revelations have been difficult to process, but our priority remains and continues to be the safety and well-being of all women and girls now and in the future. We have ended our association with Russell Brand. We always prioritize supporting women affected by violence and abuse and empower them to live without violence and fear." 08:15 Lucy Needham Government Minister slams horrific allegations and urges sex assault victims to speak to police. A government minister has urged women who have experienced sexual assault to report it to the police. Asked by LBC radio host Nick Ferrari what broadcasters should do in the wake of allegations against Russell Brand, which the comedian and actor has denied, Pensions Minister Laura Trott told LBC Radio, "I think everybody needs to do better. I think no woman, Nick, reading the allegations that were all over the place this weekend could do anything other than shudder. It's horrific. And I pay absolute tribute to the women who've come forward and also the journalists that have pursued this, the editors who've allowed them to do that, the investment that's been put in place and the huge legal risk that's taken for stories such as these. We all need to do better. And I would just plead any woman who's had experiences like this to come forward and to report them to the police." 08:02 Lucy Needham calls for criminal probe into sexual allegations against Russell Brand. A criminal probe should look into the sexual assault allegations against Russell Brand, the chairwoman of the Commons Women and Equalities Committee has said. Caroline Noakes told BBC Radio 4's Today programme, "These allegations are incredibly shocking and criminal. And I would very much hope that complaints will be made both to the Metropolitan Police and indeed in the states, because this merits and needs a criminal investigation, because for too long we have seen men, and the perpetrators of these sorts of crimes are almost invariably men, not being held to account for their behaviors and their actions." She added, "Unfortunately it seems that celebrity, for whatever reason, can act as a shield for individuals who choose to conduct themselves in a way which, to be quite frank, if that were to happen in any business organization, you'd like to think that they'd be out the door." Asked whether it is a matter for her committee, the senior Tory MP said, "First and foremost, I think it's a matter for the police." 07:59 Susan Knox. Russell Brand was rehired by TV bosses time and again despite whispers it was an open secret in TV circles that Russell Brand's behavior was at best problematic, at worst something more sinister. 06:38 Douglas patient. Russell Brand's country pub locked down, leaving locals baffled after rape allegations. Russell Brand's pub has been completely closed off to members of the public just one day after he faced a string of serious allegations. His pub, the Crown Inn in Peacehill, Oxfordshire, is now under complete lockdown. The Oxford Mail reports that the boozer is now surrounded by security fencing which is covered in beige hessian fabric. The pub, which is Grade 2 listed, has been closed since Brand and his wife Laurel became the owners in 2020 and now has a sign on the door reading, "Pub temporarily closed." To read more, click here. 04:03 Douglas patient. Russell Brand made disturbing joke about writing a sex addiction victims list when asked to identify the multiple victims of his sexual addiction. Russell Brand once said, "I feel like Saddam Hussein trying to pick out individual Kurds." He also joked that if you say sorry you can rape and murder as many people as you like, after performing in a play where one character rapes and murders another, but because he felt guilty about it in the afterlife he was basically let off. Many of the passages in Brand's two self-penned autobiographies, My Book Ewok, published in 2007, and My Book Ewok 2, which followed in 2010, shed disturbing light on Brand's promiscuity and pursuit of women. He wrote in his diary, "Had to write a victims list, a litany of the women I've wronged as a result of my sexual addiction. I feel like Saddam Hussein trying to pick out individual Kurds." The comment about Iraqi dictator Hussein and Kurdish people is an apparent reference to the infamous 1988 Ansal campaign by Iraqi troops against the minority Kurds, in which between 50,000 and 100,000 people are thought to have died, many of them civilians. 01:47 Douglas patient. Russell Brand branded vile predator in resurfaced Danny Minogue interview. Pop star Danny Minogue once blasted Russell Brand as a vile predator following an appearance on his MTV chat show, One Leicester Square, back in 2006. The Australian singer, who'd been booked on the show to discuss the release of her album The Hits and Beyond, was left thoroughly unimpressed by Brand's interview tactics, and claims that the then 31-year-old had leapt over her fabulous breasts. According to Minogue, who remarked at the time that the comic just wasn't her type, Brand pestered her to give him her phone number after following the then 34-year-old down a corridor, leaving her in utter disbelief. Speaking with the Mirror at the time, at the Michelle Watches launch party in London, Minogue remarked, "He is completely crazy and a bit of a vile predator. I certainly don't think he has cured his sex addiction, that's for sure. He wouldn't take no for an answer, he always goes that step too far. Never quite far enough to slap his face, but usually too far. Has obviously very intelligent, but he wears more makeup than I do. Normally I love guys with eyeliner on. It can be very sexy, but not on Russell. Absolutely no way, never, has just not my type." She continued, "I was told he got sacked from MTV in the past for wearing an Osama bin Laden costume to work the day after September 11. I couldn't believe that he'd just agreed to be interviewed by someone who would do something like that, it really unnerved me." And then throughout the whole interview, he kept making shocking remarks that I can't even repeat. Just uttering the words would make me blush. Read more here. 23:53 Douglas patient Russell Brand being investigated by BBC and Channel 4 TV bosses have launched a probe into Russell Brand amid claims he raped and sexually abused women. The BBC and the production firm for Channel 4 are looking into his alleged behaviour and whether chiefs knew about it. A source said the reviews will aim to see if a blind eye was turned to any claims. Brand denies the accusations. Click here to read more. 22:48 Daniel Bird panic sets in as telly bosses probe if blind eye was turned. TV bosses have launched a probe into Russell Brand amid claims he raped and sexually abused women. The BBC and a production firm for Channel 4 are looking into his alleged behaviour and whether chiefs knew about it. A source said the reviews will aim to see if a blind eye was turned to any claims. Brand denies the accusations. Our source said, the reviews will look at what concerns were raised at the time, and crucially if they were acted on. There is more than a whiff of panic among certain quarters about what the probe could uncover, and if a blind eye was turned to aspects of Russell Brand's behaviour. 22:29 Daniel Bird Carol McGiffin slammed as she appears to support Brand. Former Loose Women star Carol McGiffin has come under fire for appearing to support Russell Brand. The outspoken broadcaster liked several posts on X, with one reading, "Never trust women who break their silence to the media instead of the police, accusing men of rape." Russell Brand is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And I bet that is never going to happen, so they're trying to prosecute his case in the court of public opinion. While Carol hasn't shared her personal opinion, she retweeted a post reading, "The way Russell Brand is being treated by the relic media is plain wrong. The fracture between reasonable people and this travesty of a media is being made permanent." One ex-user fumed, "Grim, she was always a rotten one but disappointing nonetheless." Read the full story here. 22:03 Daniel Bird Brand allegations are only the start of it, claims comedian. Female comic Vix Layton believes that the allegations surrounding Russell Brand are only the start of it. The stand-up comedian claimed women in comedy were all braced for it when the claims against Brand were made public. Writing an opinion piece for The Independent, Ms. Layton said she had lost count of how many messages she had received along the lines of "just a heads up about X," referring to other male comics or men working in the industry. She stopped short of naming names, but said the messages related to things like lift shares a promoter has arranged for me involving being in a car with someone I've never met. And she said women in comedy would check in with each other to make sure they were okay. 21:30 Daniel Bird Russell's Village pub on lockdown following the release of the allegations. Russell's Quiet Country pub has gone into full lockdown mode. The Grade 2 listed building in Peacehill, Oxfordshire is now surrounded by large metal fencing which is covered by beige Hessian fabric. One local resident said, "As we drove past this morning, they were putting up a Hessian covering. It was like a sack covering across the front. It felt locked down. When we slowed down to look, the man putting it up stopped to look at us. I saw 3 security men in high-vis behind. There were lots of people inside the building as well, about half a dozen." She later claimed that she believed Mr. Brand was inside the pub and didn't want prying eyes. Read the full story here. 21:02 Daniel Bird Russell Brand obsessed with teen girl's virginity. Brand was allegedly obsessed with a 16-year-old and was preoccupied with her virginity and would refer to her as his little dolly and the child. The alleged victim, who has used the alias Alice, told Channel 4's Dispatches that Brand became aroused when she informed him she was a virgin prior to the first time they slept together, allegedly becoming preoccupied with her innocence. Alice claimed, "He was like, 'Oh my God, my baby,' and picked me up and cradled me in his arms like a child and was stroking my hair. Has like, 'You're like my little dolly.'" In the weeks that followed, Brand allegedly referred to Alice as the child, and asked her to read Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita, a novel about a middle-aged man who becomes obsessed with a 12-year-old girl. 20:47 Daniel Bird. Entertainment industry has questions to answer, says Cabinet Minister. Foreign Secretary James Cleverly has said that society needs to be particularly careful when we listen to the voices of the people who are relatively powerless. Mr. Cleverly told BBC One Ask Sunday with Laura Kuenssberg, "I think there are some real challenges where you have these very acute differentials in power, whether that be in the entertainment industry, whether that be in politics, and we see this in the commercial world as well. I think we have to be particularly careful when we listen to the voices of the people who are relatively powerless, because we, I think, collectively have missed opportunities to do the right thing and intervene much earlier, and we've got to be better at this." 20:34 Daniel Bird. Brand's vile joke about writing a sex addiction victims list. Russell Brand once said, "I feel like Saddam Hussein trying to pick out individual Kurds when asked to identify the victims of his sex addiction." He later said, "If you say sorry you can rape and murder as many people as you like," after performing in a play which sees one character rape and murders another. He added, "But because he felt guilty about it in the afterlife he was basically let off." In his self-penned 2007 and 2010 autobiographies, Brand discusses his sex addiction and said, "I didn't want to go to that sexual treatment center, but all the do-gooders, they all insisted, and I kind of agreed." He later added, "Had to write a victims list, a litany of the women I wronged as a result of my sexual addiction. I feel like Saddam Hussein trying to pick out individual Kurds." 20:13 Daniel Bird. Brand's ex-wife had jitters ahead of their first kiss. Katy Perry and Russell Brand met on the set of the 2010 movie, Get Him to the Greek. She filmed a cameo with Russell in the movie, but by the time it came to editing the movie, Katy and Russell were already an item. It got cut. She told MTV News in June 2010, "I was like, I'm sleeping with you, and you're not gonna put me in the movie? That's so messed up." Perry explained the scene made the movie too literal, adding, "If you saw me and Russell making out, although it'd be cute too, 'cause that was the first moment we met, it would feel like there's Russell Brand in the movie, not Aldous Snow, and they want it to be Aldous Snow, so it's completely understandable." Perry also revealed she got jitters after making out with Brand on set. "When he was filming Get Him to the Greek, I did a cameo with him. My scene called for me to make out with him," she told Glamour magazine. "And on the way down the stairs after the scene, I was hopping like a bunny. I hop like a bunny when I'm happy, I get a bit childlike. Laughs, he gives me the Christmas Eve jitters." 20:02 Daniel Bird. Brand allegedly raped woman weeks before Katy Perry divorce. It's claimed that Russell Brand raped a woman just weeks after he and pop star Katy Perry divorced. Speaking to the Sunday Times and Channel 4's Dispatches, one alleged victim claims she was raped on July 1, 2012. This is the same month Katy and Russell were legally divorced. The alleged victim is said to have been treated at a rape crisis center on the same day as her alleged attack. It's alleged that she texted him shortly after leaving his house and said she had been scared by him and felt taken advantage of, adding, "When a girl say yes, no it means no." He alleged replied saying he was very sorry. 19:45 Daniel Bird London Hughes claims talent manager urged her not to sleep with Russell Brand. British comedian London Hughes has spoken out regarding the allegations about Russell Brand. The star, who now lives in Los Angeles, claims a talent agent warned her about sleeping with Brand, 48, after she signed with the same agency. In a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, she said, "I was newly signed with Russell's agent at the height of his career. I was a huge fan of the man. So excited to meet him. But my first day at the agency I was told unprovoked that I shouldn't sleep with him under any circumstances, as he likes to pursue women, have sex with them, but as soon as he had sex with them, they'd made him feel sick and he didn't want to be around them anymore, so he would have them fired, or dropped from the agency. It had happened several times in the past. I was 22 at the time, did what I was told and completely avoided him. This is not some cheeky misunderstood man. I am not shocked by the documentary at all. I believe everything those brave women said." Read the full story here. 19:33 Daniel Bird. Fifi Geldof slams Brand's offensive joke about drugs. Sir Bob Geldof and Paula Yates' eldest daughter, Fifi, branded Russell an Uber douche extraordinaire in 2015. Brand, 48, made a speech in front of Fifi, whose mum as well as her younger sister, Peaches, tragically died from drug overdoses. Addressing the audience at the time, Brand said, "From what I've experienced, a lot of people here tonight are on drugs right now. It was like an avalanche on the back of my toilet." Fifi allegedly said she was less of a Russell Brand fan than ever following the comedian's offensive and highly inappropriate speech. She added Brand was an unfunny BD and an Uber douche extraordinaire. 19:18 Daniel Bird. Donald Trump's scathing attack resurfaces. Former President Donald Trump was very vocal about who he was supporting after Katy Perry's divorce from Russell. "Katy, what the hell were you thinking when you married loser Russell Brand?" Mr. Trump tweeted in 2014. "There is a guy who has got nothing going, a waste." The 45th president sent the tweet before he announced his run for the White House. Brand and Perry married in 2010, but it lasted just 14 months. Perry said the split occurred when Brand ended things via text, asking her for a divorce moments before she went on stage to perform in front of a packed-out crowd. 19:00 Daniel Bird. How to watch Dispatches special. After allegations Russell Brand became the center of a joint investigation by the Sunday Times and Channel 4's Dispatches, which was published yesterday and shown on television last night. The documentary was the final piece of an investigation Channel 4 Dispatches, The Times and Sunday Times had been working on for a year. It is now available to watch on Channel 4's catch-up streaming service, All 4. The documentary hears from women and includes allegations of rape, sexual assault and emotionally abusive behavior from Russell Brand between 2006 and 2013. He strongly denies all allegations. 18:40 Daniel Bird. Katy Perry burst into tears over controlling Russell Brand. Katy Perry once broke down into tears just moments before a performance because of her ex-husband. The pop songstress was seen trying to keep her marriage afloat in her documentary, Part of Me, which documented a world tour as well as her personal life. When asked if Brand would be seeing one of her performances, she said, "He should but has not." She later added, "I'm fighting to keep my marriage alive." A friend then says, she should be resting, but she wants to fly to wherever Russ is to show she cares. She's running herself ragged. A year later, Katie revealed that her ex couldn't handle her being a boss on her The California Dreams tour, where she played 124 dates around the world and banked $59.5 million. She claimed that her ex-husband was controlling and had broken off their marriage over text. 18:21 Daniel Bird no sex clause written in Big Brother contract. It's claimed Brand had a no sex clause written into his Big Brother spin-off contract. One of the women interviewed as part of the Dispatches documentary claims Brand had a no sex clause written into his contract, which she says he told her about after they had slept together, when he is said to have urged her to keep it a secret. She told Channel 4's Dispatches that she was told she couldn't tell anyone else on the crew, it had to be a complete secret. He had it written into his contract he wasn't allowed to have any sexual contact with anyone working on Big Brother. In his own autobiography, Brand confirmed his agent had to sign contracts saying he would be no trouble.
Just need